direct from the web, it's Billy Masters Live. And now, please welcome your host, Billy Masters.
Oh my God, it's me. It's Billy Masters. Oh my God. Where am I? Hold on. Where the fuck am I? There I am. Hey, Billy Masters. This is going to be a show where I will drink excessively. And if anyone has a problem with that, whatever you do, don't turn on Bravo. Hey, this is Billy Masters. Welcome to Billy Masters Live. Oh my God. Thank you, Monica. I don't know where I am, but Monica knows that today is Thursday, May 20th, 2021. And I am at the luxurious Billy Masters Beach House in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And it has been, can you see? I'm really tanned. Can you see? Oh, Monica, get rid of, thank you. See, I'm very tanned. And I'm very blonde as well. So here's what's happening. First off, I hope you're all well. Good to see you. I see, well, there's a handful of you. There's a smattering of you, which I appreciate, on the website and on the Facebook. So thank you. There's always a lot more on the website than on the Facebook. You know what I have realized? I mentioned this to somebody recently. The pandemic is kind of over. Now, I know it's not over, but people are back to work. People are doing, they're not just sitting home. When we started this show, it was because people were stuck at home. It was a pandemic. Oh, look, I see one of my guests. Hello, I see you. There you go. Oh, and he just came from a training session, so I bet he smells a little. So that's good. Oh, there you go. He's sniffing himself. And when I started this show during the pandemic, it was because people were sitting home. They had nothing to do. We were all like scared and concerned. And it was like, let's take an hour out of your day and laugh and have a good time and just sort of, you know, hang out together. Well, here's what I've noticed, that the numbers who are watching live on a Thursday afternoon at 3 o'clock Eastern, noon Pacific, are much lower because people are not sitting home. They're going out, they're enjoying their day, they're back at work, whatever. And yet the numbers for the week are up because people are watching on the weekend. So thank you all. Whenever you're watching this, I appreciate it. It's, look, we do this just to keep you guys entertained, and because I have so many talented, fabulous friends that I like to share with you. And we were supposed to start with Sue O'Connell from New England Cable News doing Hot Topics. Hopefully Sue will be with us shortly, but our featured guest is actually here a little early, which of course we always appreciate. God, I'm trying to think, David, because I can see hand signals. What year of American Idol were you on? Was it like the 6th season? 7th? Okay. All right. 7th season. It was after. So, all right. When people watched American Idol, which is when it was on Fox, when it had did it still have the classic judging panel? Okay, 3 originals. You know, before they started mixing it up and making it a piece of crap, if you ask me. But I have friends who make money on it, and God bless them. And it also created stars. People were not coming out when they were on the show. I don't know. I mean, Jim Veraros and RJ Helton were on the first season, but they weren't exactly out. They were kind of out, but like not really out. Jim Veraros, I think, might have been the first American Idol to completely come out. But when David Hernandez was on, first off, he was really hot and he was really put together and he was really fun and personable. And so we kind of assumed he was gay and we hoped he was gay. And as it turned out, of course, he was gay and is gay. And proud to be gay, I might add. And we have done, at least 2 Pride festivals together, and I've known him for years, and I'd written about him when he was on the show, and I am so thrilled. He's probably the hardest working idol out there. He does live streams on Facebook constantly. He constantly puts out new music. He really interacts with the fans, and he's just an all-around good guy. So help me welcome my good friend, who I haven't talked to during this. Well, it's not true. During this pandemic, he was doing, he would jam with some of his friends. And so I watched a bunch of them, and I would comment on his website. But I haven't talked to him in, I don't know how long, years. It may be years. So please welcome David Hernandez.
Hey, Billy.
Hi, sweetheart. How are you?
Oh, I am exhausted, but I'm happy to be here talking to you. I just had a training session, then I had the release last night, so we were up kind of late. My mom flew in, surprised me. So it's been a crazy 24 hours, but I feel very excited.
And where is she? Because you were in like somewhere like Cincinnati or someplace. Where were you from?
Arizona.
All right, Cincinnati, Arizona.
Definitely not Cincinnati, but yeah, Arizona. But I moved to LA. I want to say in 2008 when I did the show, and I just stayed here.
Now you were sort of, there was a little bit, not a scandal. I don't want to say scandal because it's, well, I mean, when you think of scandal, it seems so tame now.
It was like a scandal then. It was scandalous then. Now it like.
If it had happened now, nobody would have even blinked.
No, I probably would have won the show now.
Right. So I had found, I mean, I wasn't the first one to do it, but I was one of the people who had found you had worked in a gay bar. Where? Was that in Arizona?
Yeah, I worked at a couple of gay bars, but I was also a stripper at a strip club for a number of years, which put me through school and paid for a lot of things. I mean, I made incredible money doing that. And when and Idol always knew about it, but when it came out, when Perez Hilton outed me.
And there were pictures.
Yeah, but there was no picture. There weren't pictures of me though. It was
right. And there were pictures of you bartending, but with the collar and bow tie or something.
Yeah.
Right.
So that was a separate job that I had. I was also
That's what I thought.
Yeah, I was a VIP host, and I wore like the little bow tie. Coincidentally, I also wore that same bow tie when I was stripping, but I know it's a mess, but there's no photos of me actually stripping. There's just photos of me bartending.
Okay. So if anyone has photos or videos of David stripping, let me know.
I'm sure a few of my exes have some photos and videos of me, but at this point, release them. It'll just make the release for my music videos skyrocket. So.
Can only help. Exactly.
Yeah.
So when that came out, when you were still competing at the time, were you?
Yeah, totally.
And what was that the year that Antonella also had her problems?
No.
Or was Antonella the year before you? What was her name? Antonella Barba.
Because I think she's in jail now.
She is. I just read that.
Uh-oh, you froze.
Oh, no, but I still hear you, so that's good.
Can you hear me?
I hear you, but I'm not seeing you move. I'm going to kick you from the studio and just come back in, okay?
Okay.
Okay, hold on a second. Kick from the studio. Kick them. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, before David Hernandez, Frenchie Davis, another one of our good friends, had been booted from the show for doing lingerie modeling. Now, the pictures never came out, but it was apparently suggestive videos. And because Frenchie had done those photos, she had been cut, and that was like second season. That was the Kimberly Locke season. Hi, there you are, David.
There we go.
And so there was already this precedent that somebody had racy pictures and had been thrown and kicked off. You, again, I didn't think they were particularly racy. They were sexy. But did you have any problem with the producers?
No, the producers always knew it because you have to do a full disclosure and they do a background check. And they know they actually, when I did it, they wanted to know how many sexual partners I had. Were they female, were they male?
Is that legal?
Oh, yeah. It was like a booklet full of just like, what have you done your entire life that we should know about? So they always knew, the producers knew my sexuality, and they also knew my former profession. So I just think what happened was Middle America wasn't ready for, this was also 13 years ago, Middle America wasn't ready for a openly gay American Idol who was formerly a stripper. Like it just didn't feel like the wholesome American Idol image that had been set before me. You know what I mean? So
did it go? How wide did it go? Because I know in the gay press picked it up. Did the mainstream press pick it up as well?
Oh yeah. Once Perez Hilton got a hold of it, then Access Hollywood interviewed the nightclub owner, and then
oh my God, I didn't know.
It spread like wildfire to the point where TMZ was following me around, and I mean, I could not leave my house without feeling like Britney Spears. You know, like it was a lot, and it wasn't like positive press. It was all just like invasive and really rude questions. And now that you lost American Idol, are you gonna go back to stripping? And it was just, you know, it was one of those things where I just didn't. I wasn't ready. I was 24, so I wasn't really ready for that.
Were you able to talk about being gay at that point?
No, I still had like this, as many of us do, this sort of like apprehension in the industry because there's so much homophobia in entertainment.
Right.
And ironically, it comes from
gay people.
Yeah. So
they're the worst. I know.
I had a manager at the time who really encouraged me not to be open about my sexuality. It was really kind of a mind fuck, really, because here I was with this platform and I wasn't really able to use it. So years later, I'm glad I finally broke free of those chains. But the reason I did it is because I had a lot of like gay fans in the middle of nowhere that were like, oh my God, I want to be just like you. And finally I released Beautiful and came out publicly because some of those fans of mine had actually lost their lives or committed suicide. And I just felt like it was my responsibility, honestly. And I still feel like it's my responsibility.
Yeah. I remember, when Jim Veraros was the first season of American Idol, and he had done LA Pride with me. And he said that he refused to say that he was straight, but he just said nothing that first year until the show was over. And then he felt able to say something. And he told me that Fox didn't tell him he couldn't, but he did not feel that they would support him if he did.
That part right there, yeah. And I love Jim. He's one of my close friends. We talk all the time. I'm so proud of him.
He's getting married in 3 months or something.
I'm so proud of him, and he's so talented. I mean, he designs these gorgeous wedding dresses now. And but anyway, that's exactly how I felt too on the show. Nobody ever told me not to be me, right? Just like they didn't tell Danny Noriega not to be himself.
Right.
But it was just kind of an unwritten sort of truth that you just fit in with the mold, just do the carpet, and that's nothing against American Idol. I think those societal impositions were already there before I went on the show.
In the industry, as you said.
Yeah, 100%, yeah.
Well, how interesting to think that Jim was on season 1, you're on season 7. In 7 years, it was still exactly the same.
I mean, look at us, however many years from Stonewall, and you can see some of the similar things still happening. You still see gay, now it's a lot of trans people being murdered in the streets, and
sure,
it's one of the reasons why I put a trans woman, Alexa Roxas, in my new music video, because I really want trans visibility to be at the forefront, and just for our queer visibility to be really out there, and I want little kids to see themselves in us, because I didn't have that growing up.
No, I think that really, I feel that American Idol really missed a little bit of the mark because they could have been at the forefront, because they obviously didn't tell people like Daniel Noriega or you or Frenchie or Jim or so many people that you and I know who have come through the show. They really could have been, look at these talented, diverse people.
Totally. And I think that they're doing more of that now. I mean, there's not really a choice anymore, right? Because this new generation is just like out and proud, and I love that.
And they're not going to be quiet. That's the other thing.
Exactly.
Is I think, well, also you got to remember that back then you couldn't stream your own concert. You couldn't release your own music. It's amazing when you think about in 10 years how life has changed for all of us, but particularly for artists. Yeah. And, you and I have done, I know we did Long Beach Pride, and I think we did LA Pride too.
I think we did. I don't know if we did LA. I've never done LA Pride, but I did do a Halloween LA Pride thing with Thea Austin.
Oh, yeah, right.
But I definitely did Long
Oh,
Beach.
you and I remember Long Beach because it was me, you, Frenchie, Michaela.
Fantasia.
Fantasia, that's right.
Yeah, I love Fantasia. Yeah. God, that was ages ago. That was like 6-7 years ago.
I know. And the thing is, and was Locke there? Was Kimberly Locke there too?
No, I don't think she was there at that one.
Okay. Because I've done so many, and you ended up really becoming an advocate for the gay people. You tour a lot, you perform at a lot of AIDS benefits and pride festivals and everything. What is the response to you as an openly gay artist in gay venues?
A great response. I mean, it's gotten, I just love, like, over the years, like, the crowds get younger and younger, and you see even like heterosexual couples with their kids on their shoulders, like waving gay flags around, just because it's all love and inclusivity and support. So for me, I've always felt nothing but love at these festivals. I think everyone, especially after Pulse nightclub, I remember a show in Boise, Idaho, and I have video of it somewhere on my Instagram, but I mean, the crowd, it was like you couldn't speak because it was just like this uproar of just love. So I think that as the years go on, it's getting better and better and better.
Yeah, and I also think that the idols have, in a funny way, they've kind of led the way at these festivals because they're recognizable names. They appeal to kids and adults. There's this huge demographic that loves them, and they're able, it also works both ways because it gives you guys a platform.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really cool. Yeah, and I can't wait to go back on the road because I've been, not touring for over a year now. I got to perform live for the first time my original music last night for my release party, and it just felt really cool to have. There was only about 30 to 40 people in the room for each screening, but everyone was just going crazy, and it was just a cool. I forgot how it felt to feel that.
I've been watching your streams, your live streams, which is so fun. Did you get a complaint from a neighbor that you couldn't do it in your house at one point? That was really early, right?
Yeah, it was okay. So I do it at like 6 p.m. every Friday.
Right. They're great.
But now I do it.
They're so cool. You have such cool friends too.
I do. I have really cool friends.
Yeah.
But they're like relationships that I've cultivated over so many years, and a lot of them are former American Idols too. So it's cool to have that. But yeah, my neighbor, it's this little neighbor down here, one floor below. She was complaining about it, and so I had to talk to the landlord, and the landlord was like, "Okay, I get it. We're in a pandemic. You have to, that's what I was surviving on. It's still what I survive off of." Right. So, but now I do my residency at the Montrose Hotel in West Hollywood, which is really awesome. So
I didn't know that's where you were doing it, because for a while you were doing it at a friend's house or a studio or something.
In last year, I was doing it in my living room. Then I did it at a couple friends' lofts, and then I came back to my living room. And then about 3 months ago, I switched over to the actual lounge in the hotel, which is a really cool location.
Cool. Are people able to go and see you there?
Minimal, yeah. About 15 to 20 people can come in and enjoy the live stream, yeah.
Cool. So that's great that you're able to get out in front of a live audience. What is that like? I mean, again, it's such a small group, but I bet that just makes a world of difference.
Yeah, I mean, it's always good to hear the applause and to feel that in the room. For a long time, we couldn't be around people, and so you would just have to imagine the applause there after you finish the song, because especially when I go live on Facebook, I can't see people's faces. I only see their comments, right? So the applause would be like the emoji hands or like the hearts. And then you just got to clap for your damn self.
Well, that's the thing, is that I've had so many comedians on here, and like we'll be talking and we'll be saying funny things, and we're like, normally people would be laughing here, but you just got to let it go, and it's a whole new world.
The power of imagination,
I guess. So let's talk about where you came from and how did you grow up? What was your family life like as a kid?
Well, I was raised by a single mom up until I was about, I want to say 6. Then I was able to move with my dad. I lived with him pretty much like my elementary to high school years. I'm super close with both of them. They're divorced.
Oh, which is great.
My dad's Mexican American. My mom is white. So I'm a halvesy baby. And we didn't really grow up religious. I think my dad's side of the family was more Catholic, but nothing was ever really imposed on me. I think if anything, it was, the masculine, the toxic masculinity that comes with any Latin American family, I think.
Absolutely.
So I was always kind of the black sheep of the family. I in terms of like, I kind of split the fence racially.
Do you have siblings at all?
Yeah, I have two half sisters, which I consider full sisters. One Alexandra and then Viviana, and then I have a stepbrother who's my identical age, James. Who
Really?
They all live in Arizona right now. Yeah. So that was my, I did really well in school growing up. I wanted to be a doctor because my mom's a nurse, but then I went to college and I decided, no, I want to be a singer, and I dropped out. Got a record deal, got dropped from the record deal, then auditioned for American Idol. So, my life kind of took a different turn, if you will. But
when did music come into your life?
I was 6 years old when I did my first, 7 years old when I did my first musical in Arizona. So it's always been
What
there.
was it?
It was called The Canterville Ghost. And
were you a lead, or how big a role did you have?
I was one of the leads. I was a little brother. His name was Miles. I was very dramatic. You can imagine that.
Was your family supportive of you doing theater?
Oh yeah, for sure. My mom wanted me to do it. My dad was kind of indifferent to it at the time, but now they're both just they support every facet of my career. My dad actually and my mom helped me fund the music video, and
oh wow,
so they're super supportive. Yeah.
And are either of them musical?
What's that?
Are either of them musical?
No, surprisingly.
So you're the only one. What about the siblings? Anybody else?
No. They all
you're it.
Crazy. My brother, he dabbled in rap for a little while. My little sister, Alex, she has a really great tone, but she kind of stopped singing. And my mom and my dad both have really great tones. So I think that's where I get the tone from.
Yeah.
But none of them are musicians.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And when did you realize that you were gay?
Oh my God, I was 6 years old.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I've always had an affinity towards guys, and I had girlfriends up until I was 22. But yeah, I've always kind of known. I didn't really think to follow that path because, again, society has a way of sort of conforming you and making you go with the flow.
And I have a lot of friends who come from Latin backgrounds or mixed backgrounds, and there is a big pressure to be masculine and to really, if you have those feelings, to suppress them.
Absolutely, yeah. It's it's quite sad actually, but it's getting better.
Was that a problem in your family at all?
No, I mean, I came out to my mom, and it was really easy, and then to my stepmom at the time, and then eventually hopped on a phone call with my dad, and they all were just like, well, whatever makes you happy, we just want you to be safe. And because there, the stigma that people still have in their mind is the gay community is affiliated with AIDS and promiscuity.
Sure, that was in the middle of AIDS, I'm sure.
Absolutely, yeah. So now I've been able to educate my parents on HIV and also on PrEP and antiviral medications that we don't die these days when we contract HIV. There's technology, and thank God for Western medicine that we're able to survive. I mean, I have so many friends that are HIV positive, so it's not a stigma anymore, guys.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, more people really are very matter of fact about revealing it. And my big issue was so many people would lie because they would feel that either they were going to be ostracized or that you wouldn't even want to date them. And these days, people are very open about it, which is good. And they're also living longer. It's not a death sentence anymore.
Absolutely. Yep.
So when you got dropped from your record label, was it a musical choice? Was it that it just didn't click? What was the first record label?
It was Universal Bungalow. And no, the lady who was the head of the label was just crazy. And she wanted things her way, and I was like, no. She ended up owning all the masters of that record, which whatever.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it was just she was psychotic, and I wanted artistic freedom, and so they ended up folding anyway, that label. So and then no longer they didn't have a deal with Universal anymore, and yeah, so it all works out the way it's supposed to. But I remember getting on Idol, and then she decided to release the album, and I was like, "You." Oh,
really?
Yeah.
How shady.
I know, but she wanted to recoup that money, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, there used to be a rule that you couldn't be on Idol if you had a record deal. And I don't know when that changed and if that's even an issue anymore. I remember because when Kelly Clarkson ended up winning, all of a sudden these demos she had recorded came out and people like, oh, she's already a recording star. I'm like, did you hear them before she was on Idol? Then she wasn't a recording star.
Right. I think anyone that joins American Idol has some sort of background in music. Especially
These
nowadays.
days they do. Yeah.
Nowadays, I mean, they've had deals, or they were. I mean, that one guy was on like 4 different reality shows. I think he was like on The Voice, The Four, American Idol. So 3, but yeah, I forgot his name.
People just bounce around. Well, and even country singer, he's been on this show, gay. I can't even think. Billy Gilpin had been on The Voice, and I love Billy. And Billy had been a huge country star. And I remember looking, saying, "What the hell's he doing on The Voice?" And he said to me, "Well, your career changes and you reinvent yourself. And what better way to introduce yourself to the public?
100%.
Reality television."
That's exactly what it is, for sure.
You know, would you do another show like that? Like, would you go on The Voice?
Absolutely, excuse me. Yeah, I would totally do it. I've actually auditioned for The Voice, but I don't know if it's because I have too much visibility. But I've been told by the casting directors, like, people know you too much. I don't think it's a good idea. I've auditioned for The Voice a few times actually.
Yeah, and by the way, can I just say to The Voice, they have yet to produce a star. I'm waiting. I'm holding my breath. Well, there was that country girl.
Everybody says that, yeah.
But, you know, although I don't think Idol is producing stars anymore, and I think maybe because so many people like you are independent artists on YouTube, YouTube is now the American Idol. People are creating their own stars.
It's true, yeah. YouTube's I think this day and age, digital, everything, the artist has the power. You know, we can put out anything we want.
And do you find that it's easy to reach people?
I
mean, how is your social media following? Like, do things go viral for you?
I don't know about viral, but I mean, I do have all the control, and I will say that being on television does help, though. I definitely would not turn down the opportunity to be showcased again on national television. But I've been able to create a really good following for myself and a loyal fan base, so I'm grateful for that.
Yeah, and I find that people repost your stuff a lot, that people really are passionate about you.
Yeah, I have some really diehard friends and fans. I call them my tribe because they're always there like, when's the next project? And I'm like, hold on, I just put out a project. Let me breathe. But yeah. Well,
the other thing is that you're also very good looking. You have a really nice body. People like looking at you. Is that a double-edged sword? Because I know during the pandemic, you were talking about, especially at the beginning, that you're like, I'm not feeling motivated. I've let myself go. I really want to get back in shape because I want to be ready to hit the ground when this is all over. I mean, is that a struggle because you're so known for being so good looking and people love looking at the shirtless pictures and everything?
Well, thank you. No, and I didn't really do it for that reason. I did it more for mental health. And obviously the physical I enjoy. I'm just super hard on myself and critical about that. But, I don't know. I think it's an entire package when you're an artist. And if you take care of your body, it also takes care of your voice and your mental health. And I wear a lot of different hats. So I kind of have to be on 98% of my life. So it's great to be able to like make the physical match the mental and all that kind of stuff. I don't find it hard. I find it like just part of my lifestyle. And I enjoy working out and I enjoy eating healthy. And last night we had a little bit too much tequila, maybe, but I try to live as much as possible within reason, though, because like I said, I have a lot going on, so it's nice.
Yeah, I remember you were saying that you were just especially with the pandemic and being stuck at home, you were saying that it was really a struggle for you mentally.
Last March, April, it was bad. I definitely. I don't know. I was just going down a path. I just, I had lost all that money. I lost like $60,000 worth of touring. And I didn't at that time know how to record myself, and you couldn't have any human contact, so it was hard to create. So I had to learn how to record myself and produce my own videos and stuff. It ended up working in my favor, but just getting past that, we went from everything being open and me about to go on tour to like, just kidding, you're going to have to stay home. And literally not talk to the world, which is why I started my live streams, because I wanted to connect. So yeah, it was rough mentally, and I'm sure it was rough for a lot of people.
Oh, I think so. And I told people when the pandemic began, I don't think it made people more depressed. I mean, I don't think it made somebody who didn't have depression tendencies depressed. I think it just magnified everything that we already had. That if you were somebody subject to depression, this is a trigger. If you were somebody who is really a self-motivated person, it was also a trigger. I thought that so many people became so smart and inventive in terms of what they were doing at home, marketing. Yeah. We all had to learn on the fly. We all learned how to make our own studios and create our own shows. But look at what we've gained out of this.
I mean, so much, for those of us that were able to stick it out and reinvent ourselves, which I think is just human evolution, right? Like we have to adapt to the times and we grow. And, I had a couple friends of mine who had some extreme losses. One in particular, she lost 2 important people in her life, and we were in Mexico together for her birthday trip and also my little birthday trip just this past weekend. And we had like a moment, and I was like, I marvel at you and how you're even smiling right now, losing what you've lost. And she was just like, well, that's what we do. Like we keep going, and because that's what we do. And she couldn't have put it more simpler. And there was other words exchanged, but it's amazing what you can get. My favorite line in the scripture is, "He'll never give you more than you can bear. This too shall pass." And I think that if we can just hold on long enough, you will see the light at the end of the tunnel. And I see it, and it's coming. But for a while there, it felt real dark. It felt really. So especially for artists, I think we were the main industry that was hit the hardest.
Oh, I think so. And also people really didn't have a lot of compassion for artists, because the idea is, they're just doing what they do and it doesn't matter. Right. But I will also say that I have friends that still haven't come out of that darkness, because not everyone is able to get themselves out. And I think one friend in particular, who was always like a very negative person and always like, woe is me, that then when this started, she's like, see, and just sort of like collapsed. And I feel for those people, because I know they're out there. I personally know them, and you can try to help them. You can try to reach out and do what you can, but people are who they are, and either they're going to get themselves out of it or they have to reach back for help.
Well, and that's what I was just going to say. Some people don't have the tools already within them, and that's okay. But I always encourage people to get help. There's no shame. And again, I'm not trying to do a plug again, but my new music video is all centered around therapy, because we want to normalize therapy. We want to normalize queer therapy. We want to normalize trans therapy, all the things. We want to start to normalize that, because I think what happens is when people get into these dark places, they're afraid to ask for help because they're afraid of looking like weak or they're not complete, or they're broken. And that's not it at all. Like, we are all not perfect. And Oprah has a new show coming out with Prince Harry that is centered around that. And I think it's going to be incredible.
Yeah, I think that also there is this stigma still. Yeah. Because people don't talk about it that much. And I think it's really important when somebody like you or I, somebody is just stumbling upon us. And when I started doing the show, it was literally because I needed something to do. I needed something to look forward to. I needed to know what day it was, because every day was running together. And you had to also, I think there is something in your brain that if you act as if everything is normal and you're having a good time, you actually feel normal and like you're having a good time. You can trick yourself.
You can trick, I mean, your mind it controls everything. It's powerful.
On the other hand, there were people who, would drink more or do drugs. And that was also, it just triggered them that way. That was how they were coping with it. And it's really hard for people with addictions. Have you ever had any addiction issues?
I have, actually. Yeah. I went to rehab for Xanax. I was, I started.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. I started taking Xanax a long time ago, like when I was like 21, to help me sleep. And what people don't know about benzos, there's just not enough education about benzos. And they're overprescribed, and people don't realize that you're only supposed to take them on emergency basis and not for an extended period of time. I never knew that. So, 13 years into it, I was, starting to not feel the effects, so I had to take more.
Because you need more, right?
Yeah, and so then one year, it was in 2018 January, right after New Year's, I went back to Arizona and checked myself in to get off of it because it was really ruining a lot of things in my life. So
and how hard was that? Because I have a friend probably watching today who has an Ambien addiction because he cannot sleep without it. And if one becomes two becomes three.
Yeah, it was the worst thing that I've ever gone through in my life. It was the come downs and they call it psychosis were unbearable, and I was hallucinating, and you still feel the effects of it years and years later. They say coming off of a benzodiazepine is actually worse than coming off of heroin. So,
oh my God, really?
Yeah, and I've never tried heroin, but I remember being in the facility for a week, and I remember kids that were there coming down off heroin recovered quicker than I did. I left the facility still not recovered, like fully, mentally okay. Because then I went.
How long had you been there?
About 4 or 5 days, and then I went to the hospital where they had to like sedate me. There's this thing with Lisa Ling. If people want to try to find it, I think it's on Netflix. Lisa Ling talks about benzos. It's a whole special dedicated to it. People coming off of it will commit suicide. They have seizures. Really? Some people just never come out of it. So yeah, to answer your question, I have been down that. I've lived some life.
Yeah, I didn't know any of this about you, and that's the other thing. So many of us, we know each other, and our lives intersect either in a professional way or a social way, but we don't really have these conversations, and you don't know what somebody's going through or what you have in common because people don't talk about this stuff.
That's so true. Yeah. Well, let's normalize it all.
But I know you really through your music. So let's talk about actually, before we get to the new single, let's talk about, because you've been having a real string of great singles and videos. You've really taken the reins of your career.
Yeah, it's been fun. Are you
still with Stephen Ford?
Yeah, Stephen Ford's one of my booking agents.
Right. Okay.
But we haven't worked together in over a year.
Well, you haven't been booking. Nobody's booking.
Exactly. Yeah, it's been really fun. I've really got a great team behind me. I have a videographer, Arno Diem. I have a creative director, Benji Schwimmer, my graphic and website designer / music consultant, Brady Kerr. And then I have my boyfriend who also co-directs a lot of my music with me. And then I also have producers that I work with virtually, where I'll record my vocals in my home studio and then send it off to them to get mixed. They add the bells and whistles. I have the entire team. Mm-hmm. So we just create. That's all we do. And it's fun. It's a lot of fun.
And those relationships, that really is what keeps the music evolving, that you don't know where it's going to go, but somebody will suggest something and then it snowballs.
Yeah. And, I was on the phone with my good friend, Parson James. This was a few months ago. And I was like, what do I need to do to get a manager or a label? And he said, because he has a record deal right now. And he said, maybe you honestly don't need any of that. Just create a good team. And that's exactly what I did. And he also said, maybe within that team, somebody will step up to the plate and be the manager eventually, or, whatever it is. But he's like, you don't need anybody, especially with what we just talked about, digital media and everything's at your fingertips. You create what you want. You are the gatekeeper. You are the final say. So I don't want a deal like I had years and years ago. It would just be nice to have somebody else front the money for all this stuff.
Well, and look, I've said this to comedian friends, actor friends, singer friends, that it is hard when you're doing everything. That, it would be nice, the people who have been very successful, who they say, people watch Marvelous Mrs. Maisel and they say, okay, she does the writing and the comedy, and her partner is the manager and the hustler. And so many of us are doing all of that. And it's really hard because it's awkward, number one, for an artist to have to do their own negotiating and pitching because it's icky. And I get that. I mean, this is one of the things, so many of my friends perform in Provincetown, and the shows are the easy thing in Provincetown. You have to walk up and down the street in Barker and hand out flyers. And it's like, oh, really? Do I have to beg you to come see my show? Come, don't come. That's not my problem.
Well, I did that in Puerto Vallarta too.
Sure. Same thing.
Yeah, it's a hustle, but these days,
hard.
If you want to be an entertainer, like, you just have to be all the things.
You have to do
You
everything.
just do. And you'll find the joy in some of it and not in some of it, you know, like some of it, like you said, handing out flyers, it's not my forte, but I'll do it if I have to.
Well, it also really, I do think that it does create a little bit of a hunger, because either you're going to give into it and work harder and hustle, or you're going to go nowhere.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, 100%.
So let's talk about the new single.
Yeah, so I wrote I Love You with my good friend Stuart Taylor, and then I enlisted Benji Swimmer, winner of So You Think You Can Dance Season 1.
Yes.
And he creative directed the whole thing. Arno DM shot it. And basically the song just talks about like a relationship where, like every relationship, it's not perfect and things don't always end up how they started off. And just loving someone and all their crazy, right? Like whatever crazy means, like being difficult or insecure or changing their mind. And so I Love You is really special and important to me because I wrote it from a real place in my life. And then it's just amazing to see how the video came out and how, you know, I'm doing some dancing in it, some choreography. And Alexa Abraxas is my trans therapist, with my partner, who is Benji. He's my on-screen lover in the video. And I just can't wait for everyone to see it. It drops at 9 p.m. tonight. So,
but what's interesting about it is that it did go through an evolution, because it was really personal, and then you went out of your way to really make it non-specific in terms of gender pronouns, etc. What was that process like? And when did it hit you, gee, this could be even more than a personal song? It could be anybody's personal song.
I think it hit me when I was doing the final edits after I had gotten the mix back. I listened to that part that's I wouldn't be the man I am if it weren't for you. And I was thinking, if like a little girl's listening to this who is struggling with her sexual identity in middle America, she's maybe not identifying with the man, the male pronoun. So why not so what would be better? And so that's why I changed it to, I wouldn't be who I am if it weren't for you, because anybody can relate to who I am.
And I think that also those kind of shows, those kind of songs really do snowball, because anybody can project themselves into them.
Totally. Because I always think about that too when I think about like songs that I love. Like sometimes if, you know, like Rihanna, like, I want you to make me feel like I'm the only girl in the world. I'm always thinking like, God, how could we have changed that to where like I can relate to it, you know?
Right, the only
like,
one in the world, or whatever.
Make me feel like I'm the only one in the world. I would, you know, I always just think about stuff like that because I want people to like kind of relate to it. So
yeah, you know, I think there's both ways of looking at it, because I really love that way, the way that you're saying that you want to make it universal. But if somebody is writing a song and they're really identifying with it, sometimes it's a window into their soul. So it can work both ways.
Totally. But as a member of the LGBTQ plus community, for me, that's just where I come from. You know, and on the other flip side of that is like female empowerment. Well, hell yeah. Like Rihanna's thinking about it. You know, you got your fan base and we have ours. And you know, I'm just super sensitive because, you know, my former roommate Mila Jam is trans back in New York. You know, I have a lot of trans friends that just aren't getting to see themselves in music and in TV, and now more so than ever, sure, but we've got a long way to go. Absolutely. So any way that we can help that process a little quicker, I think, you know, why not?
Well, I think also what's his name? AJ McLean just released a song as well with trans models in it. And, you know, I think that, you know, I love when everybody starts including that. It's not just the gay community, it's everybody, because then it really does make it more of a universal thing that, oh, a trans person could be here, a gay person can be here, and it's no big deal. The more normal it is, the easier it is for people to see themselves in those roles.
Absolutely. And that's why I Love You is so important to me. I think it's a beautiful video, and it'll be out tonight, and then it'll also at 9 p.m. be streaming on all digital platforms too. So iTunes, Spotify, like all the things. I'm excited. And
the release party was last night?
It was last night, yeah.
And what are people saying about it?
They love it. People were crying. They like the message. It's like a full-on storyline. I just can't wait for people to see it and be able to identify it with it in some way. So it went really well. It was my first time. It was my first time performing it live as well with my band.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So that was really badass. I loved it.
And now, are you calling it "I love you" or "ILU"?
It's interchangeable.
I mean, why? Excuse me.
ILY is what it's titled, but
or Illy.
But either
somebody said to me,
ILY,
David Hernandez has a new song coming out, Illy. And I said, what the hell is Illy?
Yeah, no, it's whatever you want to say. I mean, I love you is really what it is, but ILY is the abbreviation.
Right. Yeah. Hold on, we got some questions. Hold on. Somebody just said, oh, well, of course, our dear friend Kenny Morse said, love you, David. Kenny. Oh my God, a friend of mine just texted me directly and said, David's arms are amazing.
Oh.
Okay, well, he just came from working out.
I did. You trying to get that?
Was it an arms day?
No, it wasn't. But they just tend to, they're secondary muscles for what we.
See, now there's the thing. But it's funny because there's the thing, because I always feel that, on one hand, you are a singer and you want to be appreciated for your voice. And somebody will say, oh, your arms are so great, or your face is so cute. Do you ever sit there and say, okay, but what'd you think of the song?
Yeah, it's funny. I was just having this conversation. I can post a video clip of me singing, and it'll get like a couple hundred views. And then I post a photo of me on the beach showing my ass cheeks in Mexico, and all of a sudden I'm up to like 10,000 views. And I'm like, well, ain't this a bitch? I mean, but here's the thing for me. It's like, appreciate whatever it is you want to appreciate. Right. I am all of this. I'm all of those things. I'm a musician, but I'm also a fitness guru, and I'm also... I work a full-time job right now for a prep company called Mr.
Oh, wow.
9 to 5, Monday through Friday. And then I get off work and I start
recording. We got to pay the bills.
Yes, you do. And so I'm all of those things. I'm not just a singer. I'm not just a songwriter. I'm a brother. I'm a boyfriend. So if people say like, hey, you have nice arms, thank you so much. I work really hard for that too. So, I appreciate all the love and all the things. And I hope that eventually translates into you purchasing my music or streaming it. But if it doesn't, thanks for the support anyway, It's always good encouragement.
The flip side of that is that I will hear from people that will watch, say, an Idol show or a Voice or anything and say, oh, this really ugly girl was on there, but she had a great voice, but she's not going anywhere because she's so ugly. And I'm like, what does it matter? But we are that society, is that everything is part of, like you had said, the packaging.
Yeah. I really hate when people say that. There's a couple American Idol Facebook groups that I've had to remove myself from because they'll say something. I think they said something negative about a 16-year-old girl. And I remember being on Idol, and I remember reading those blogs and how bad it hurt. And I can't imagine someone who isn't even an adult yet, if she's by chance reading those, like, shame on you as a grown-ass man or woman for putting down a 16-year-old girl for the way she looks when she's probably just still trying to grow into herself. So I think those things are hurtful, and I am sure I make it a point to shut people down when they start speaking stuff like that.
Yeah, but I also feel that if again, I don't want to victimize somebody, but if you're putting yourself out there, whatever you're doing, whether you're a stand-up or an actor or a singer or a model, whatever, you are opening yourself up to these criticisms, and I worry that a lot of people aren't prepared for it. Although I have to say, Idol has done a good job of that, because you see those terrible auditions and you're like, okay, everyone's laughing at you, so maybe look in the mirror and be prepared and go to a voice coach before you put yourself out there for the world to criticize.
Yeah, and I think there is a definitely a form of thick skin you should have when being in the public eye, but I don't think that gives people license to be nasty. And I think that as a society, we could all stand to be just a little kinder. You know what I mean?
Well, that's the thing. I think it's a societal issue.
You want grace? You're not going to get it, because karma's a bitch. And if you're mean to people when you need it the most, you're not going to get the love because you didn't put it out there in the world.
It's funny you say that, because I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago, I went to a high school reunion, and there were, The polizia are coming for you, David.
Yeah, and my dog is howling. Do you hear him?
Oh, I don't hear the dog. But I've heard the dog on the live streams.
He's howling right now.
But I've gone to these reunions where the people who were the cool kids or the really hot people in high school, and you see them, and they invariably get bald, get fat, get older, as we all do. And I always think to myself, everybody, no matter what you have going for you, it is cyclical. And if you could remember that you are not going to always be up here, you're going to be down there at some point, maybe give somebody else a little bit of a boost.
Yeah, no, 100%. I'm a huge fan of that. And I learned a lot of grace for other people during this pandemic and grace for myself. Yeah. Patience, really. And, if you can afford to give someone a compliment, why not do it? Just let someone know they're moving in the right direction. Because I think it all comes back to you. So I don't know. I just feel like I said, we could all stand to be just a little cuter to each other.
Have you gotten bad criticism? Like, what has been the worst thing that you have gone through in terms of public opinion or scrutiny?
I think I would say probably the press from American Idol, like that probably was real. That was definitely damaging in terms of myself.
In terms of the stripper stuff or the gay stuff?
You know what?
Or was there ever anything voice? Because that's got to hit you where you live.
Yeah, I mean, the stripper stuff definitely hurt. But then I remember somebody saying I had a crooked nose and my face looks awful when I sing. And I've always had a crooked nose. So like when someone pointed that out,
I've never noticed. You do?
I'm always in my good angles.
But, know your angles, bitch.
But I sure do. But
show off those arms too.
I really don't listen to the negative static, but I remember being on a live stream, because when I'm on a live stream, I'm like right here and I'm reading the comments because I like to interact with people. Somebody was heckling me, and I was in the middle of a song, and they were like, "Stop!" and like, "Stop! Don't! God, your voice is awful. Why would you do that?" And that kind of messed me up for a second, but then my friends went in on them, and then they finally just disappeared into the abyss where they belong. So yeah. I mean,
how about on stage? Has anything happened to you on stage that has thrown you?
Like in terms of someone saying something negative?
Either something negative or just even a technical mishap that you're like, fuck, what do I do now?
Oh yeah, I dropped my microphone off stage one time. I was performing at, do you remember Crave in Las Vegas?
Of course, yeah, right.
That stage is massive, and I remember literally singing, and my microphone slipped out of my hand and fell, and this really nice girl picked it up and handed it to me, and I was like, "Thank you so much." So that was embarrassing, but thank God.
Do you own it when it happens? Do you just say, whatever?
Yeah, that's the part people connect to. I think that's the part where people say like, "Oh my God, he's human. He's actually singing live." I've messed up my own lyrics in concert. People are like, "Oh my God, that was amazing."
But you know what I've seen you do? Sometimes on your live streams, somebody will suggest something and you'll be like, "Well, I've never done this." And you'll try to sort of figure out, well, should I do it in this key? Oh, I'll try it in this key. Yeah. Well, let's just see. Oh, I don't really know these words. And you're just having fun.
You just have fun with it. I've learned so many songs and figured out what songs work and what songs don't, but that's the beauty of my live streams, is that it's all in real time and it's off the cuff, and mistakes, and you don't have to be perfect. It's not the Grammys. So we just rock and roll with it. I think the biggest thing about my live streams, because people are donating, to support me.
Yes.
Is to sing what they want to hear, and people just want to know that they're connecting with another human, not like a robot. So.
Well, I think that's what I love about yours, because like you said, you read the comments, you respond to them. And of course, with Facebook, there's like that 30-second delay. So you're responding to something that somebody typed 30 seconds ago, but, and then they're seeing it 30 seconds later. So it's always like this dance, but, I find them very intimate. I really find that and also what I love about yours is I feel like I'm eavesdropping on what you would be doing at home with your friends if we weren't even watching.
Well, you nosy bitch.
I know, exactly. I am a bit of a voyeur.
It's that's why I was in my living room, because I wanted to invite people into my home and just see what I would be doing if you weren't watching. And that's exactly it. That's exactly it. I create music like 24/7. So.
And you're also having fun. which I really like, because I haven't seen any of them that you're saying there, except I remember at the beginning there were technical issues that would just piss you off, that, you're like, well, I don't know, can you people even hear me, and stuff like that.
Yeah, I was trying to get my sound and lighting figured out. Thank God, it took me a year, but we're here, and it's a wonderful thing. And now I have a live guitar player, because we can be, within 2 feet of each other now. So it's great. And then I have, this week is my special guest, Taylor Felt, who's an up-and-coming 20-year-old singer who's incredible. She sounds like Tori Kelly.
Oh, wow.
So she's going to be on tomorrow.
How are you meeting people? Do you meet people like online? Like, have you connected to somebody and said, wow, you've got really great music and it works out that way?
Yeah.
Or is it through other friends?
We'll be able to like actually meet. But yeah, there's a lot of people I've reached out to that were on different TV shows. I'll just slide into their DMs and be like, you're amazing. I want to have you on Drinks with David one Friday. And they're like, well, I'm in Indiana, or wherever they're at. And I'm like, well, one day when you get out here, let's figure it out. So I'd hope to turn this into like a summer concert series on the rooftop of the Montrose Hotel.
Oh, which would be great.
Open up, yeah.
What are you taking out of this pandemic? What have you learned? What have you learned about yourself through this? Because I have found that a lot of people are not coming out of the pandemic the way they went into it.
Yeah, I mean, for me, hold on, let me plug my phone in, because it's going to die.
Oh, all right.
I think for me, I've learned a lot about like self-sufficiency. Like, I love being able to be not dependent on anyone or anything in terms of like, I don't know, like agents and managers and labels and stuff like that. I feel like I've just been forced to be autonomous, and I love that, because then I'm not waiting around. And the team that I have now operates just the way I do. Like, when we get off the phone, I have to message my graphic designer to create a flyer for tomorrow, and he'll have that to me within like 15 minutes. So before this, I was working with people who wouldn't get it back to me for 7 days, and I'm like, come on, what the hell's going on? so that's definitely been like a cool thing during the pandemic. And also just like, even after there's no mandate for masks, and I know there's not for people that are vaccinated, but I still am going to wear one, and I'm still going to sanitize, and I'm still not going to give everyone a kiss. Like I used to get sick like every 3 months, and I haven't been sick I have a little sinus infection right now, but I haven't been sick since last March. So that just proves to me that yes, masks do work. Sanitizing does work, and keeping your distance from nasty bitches works too. Like, you don't have to hug everybody, Yeah,
I think that people, again, we do a lot of live performances, and it used to be that you shook hands, maybe you got a hug. Now there's so many kisses. I'm wondering when meet and greets come back, how people will be acting.
I'm going to do like the hugs, but it'll be like this. We could do like a fist pump.
Yeah, I think so. So you've mentioned the boyfriend a few times. How long have you guys been together?
It's been 4 years now.
Cool. And do you live together?
We do. Yeah, we moved in at the top of the pandemic, and we had a roommate who eventually moved out. But that was interesting because we both work from home.
Yeah, so how did that work out?
We had some moments. I'll leave it at that.
So have you come out of this pandemic a stronger couple?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, with a lot more transparency, I would say.
Well, I think that people in this pandemic, either they come out because they've really learned the real person. So it's either this is great or, okay, get out.
Yep. Yeah. I know a lot of people that have broken up.
Me too.
Yeah.
Okay, let's plug it one more time. So now, where can people see the video starting at 9 o'clock Eastern or 9 o'clock Pacific?
9 o'clock Pacific tonight. It'll be premiering on YouTube.
Oh, because it will be midnight here, of course.
Go to youtube.com/D Hernandez Music. It'll be premiering, and I'm excited about it. And please stream it everywhere and leave comments and support and show the love.
Now, I didn't ask you. You've sung a little bit for us. Is there anything you could sing a little bit for us?
Oh yeah, I'll sing the chorus of "I Love You."
Okay.
I love you, I love you, I love you. I swear, it's the truth. When we're lying in bed, and my head's in your head, please say you know. I love you, I love you, I love you. I swear it's the truth. Oh, I could spend a lifetime just trying to prove it to you. I love you.
That was great. Oh, I can't. Full disclosure to everyone, I've already seen the video.
I know you have.
So, I'm sitting here and, it's always, it's funny when you know somebody and it's like you have to ask the questions for an audience at home. And I'm sitting here, so what's the video like? And I'm like, I already know.
You already know what it's like.
But I can tell people I really did enjoy it. And I can tell people if you like David Hernandez, number one, you're going to really like the song because it's really a beautiful song and it's catchy, which is what I like. It's got a great hook. And the video is really slick. That's the first thing that I noticed. The production values are gorgeous.
Thank you.
Because a lot of videos look crappy.
I know. We didn't want that to be that video.
And it really is. There's a lot of surprises and there's a lot of little nuances in the video, which I like. That it's really attention to a lot of detail. And if you see it a second time, you'll catch something that like you didn't see before. Yeah,
I love that. I love that about it. We put a lot of focus on the detail stuff, and I'm super proud of it and the way that it came out. It was shot by Arno Diem, edited and choreographed by Benji Schwimmer, and I'm over the moon about it. I can't wait for the world to hear it and see it.
Oh, I think so. And what do you have coming up after this? Do you have other songs that you're working on, other videos you're working on?
I just got the mix back last night for my new single. I never stop. It's so funny because I like, me and my boyfriend were playing the mix in bed. It's a new song called Miss You. And he was like, oh my God, I think I like this better than I Love You. And I was like, don't you ever talk about my children like that. I love them all. So yeah, we're working on the new one. Yeah, but I have to give it some time though, because I think I Love You needs a lot of attention. And I feel like this is just the beginning of the amount of press and love it's going to get within like all communities. So.
Oh, I think it's going to be, and I think I always get upset with people who do fast rollouts because I think they miss things. Things really have to go at their own speed. You never know how long something's going to take.
Yeah. I'm going to wait I'm going to give this one a couple of months at least so that we can, and I want to do some live acoustic performances with it and put those out too. So.
Do you have any dates coming up for the summer aside from the Montrose?
Yeah, July 1st, I'm doing Omaha Pride.
Oh, great.
So that'll be my first Pride gig.
Wow, thank God.
Saturday morning, I fly to Arizona to do a private birthday concert for a friend. But then that's it. And then I come back and...
Things will roll in. This is an interesting question. I've never asked you this. What is your dream? Like, is there something that you would like to do that you haven't done? Either as a performer or even as a person for that matter.
Oh gosh, that's a really good question.
Would you like to be in a musical? Would you like to act in a film? I mean, things like that.
I would love to be on Broadway. I would love to do like a contemporary show.
Something original.
Something like maybe original too, or like Hamilton. I would love to do, or In the Heights would be amazing.
Oh, In the Heights, you'd be so good in the Heights.
I would love to do In the Heights. So I think that's definitely in the future. But I also, I'm getting back into acting classes in June.
Oh, good.
I'm really stoked. I would love to be on a TV show. I think there's so much longevity in acting more so than pop music. So that's just where I kind of want to evolve to. But also, I want to travel the world more. I think, like, I want to save money and just travel. Like, that's one of my dreams.
Cool. I think it's interesting that, again, we go back to Idol because everything kind of does go back to Idol. Yeah. But Idol has given so many people careers in different ways. I mean, who would think that Kelly Clarkson would have a talk show?
True. Yeah.
Or Justin Guarini has done like 3 Broadway shows. I mean, it's really incredible the doors it opens. And I think really the sky's the limit for you because you've got so much talent. You're so sweet. And
really?
You also stand up for yourself, which I really like. And I've seen you stand up for other people.
Yeah.
Which I think is really, again, you give that out and it will come back to you.
Well, thank you, Billy, and I appreciate you for sticking by me and supporting me all these years.
It's been a long
You're
time.
You're a lovely human. It's been a long time.
It has been, but you know, I've always had a good time with you. Oh, Bert Champagne just wrote, great, honest interview. I think that's
Bert.
I think that's real. And Bert, thank you for watching. And
That's
Scott
a cool
Clark.
name, by the way. Maybe I should
Champagne. I know, really. Now I'm not sure what these are. What are these?
Scott Clark. Hey.
Yeah, but what are those? Are they applause?
Those are hand
Okay.
claps.
Oh, all right. Well, thank you. Nana needed her glasses for a second there. Anyway, I love you, David. Thank you for doing this. I'm so glad that things are going well for you. I am keeping my fingers crossed for the video. I'm going to, for people who are watching this on YouTube, there will be a link to the video at the bottom in the description. So that if you just want to watch it, just click on the link and I'll send them to your site.
Yeah, and I'll resend you the new link for the video too.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, because I won't do it till after, you know.
Yeah.
I'll edit it tonight at midnight. Don't worry.
Okay, sounds good. Mwah.
David, thank you. Talk to you soon.
Love you, Billy. Bye.
Bye, honey. Everybody, so just so you know, I've been looking. First off, Mary is telling me that I'm drinking too much water. I have been drinking a ton. As you can see, I'm really tanned, and I've been very dehydrated lately because I've been walking the beach every day, but I'm heading back to Boston tonight. Okay. Oh, there's all of these text messages. Anyway, so I got a text message from Sue O'Connell. Sue O'Connell got locked out of her house, and she couldn't do it from, I guess, her porch on her phone. Anyway, that's what's happening. So that's why Sue wasn't here. We will have Sue back, obviously, at a later date. Next Thursday, we have another one of our panel shows, and we are going to be having, oh, this is so exciting, Daniel Franzese, who you may know from Mean Girls. He is also a stand-up comic, and some stuff has gone on with him lately. So we'll talk to him. Frank DeCaro is going to be on the panel, and I'm not sure who the third person is going to be. You know what? You tell me. I want someone like in their 20s, young gay person, somebody who we haven't used, somebody new. If you would like to be on the panel and talk about pop culture, current events, gossip, let me know. Write to billy@billymasters.com. I'm sure that I have a banner here that says that, but I can't find it because I'm just too much going on. Just go to billymasters.com, click on the email link at the top, and you can submit either who you think could do it, or if you would like to play with us and be thrown in the deep end, let me know. Maybe we'll choose you. So that's it. It was a little bit of a shorter show because, you know, that Sue O'Connell, you know, you can't trust those lesbians, but I love her. But anyway, that's okay. I got a pack. I got a plane to catch. This has been Billy Masters Live. I am, of course, Billy Masters. And if we're here, we're live. Take care. Have a good weekend, guys.